is a little bit different from the standard Zoom, and in which case we're going to be the audience. We can move you in and out or on and off the stage, so we can move you move you into the auditorium or keep you on the stage. Now, there's a reason for that. A technical reason is that with people over such a large area and a good number of people, we want to keep the audio and video feed as good as possible. And Zoom Webinar enables us to shrink it down just to one audio feed. And with people with any kind of poor bandwidth, that helps a lot, especially as we're bringing feeds from different countries. So I will. What I'll be doing in a short while is moving everybody out into the auditorium, and you will be muted when you go out like that. But you can contact us through the chat and through the Q&A features. And after the workshop, I'll be bringing you all back in, and you'll all be able to chat and the like, and then we'll be feeding people out again. So it's a little bit different, and you can, if you want to join us, or ask questions during the presentation, put it into the Q&A. Please use the chat just for fun. The chat is there for you to have your normal festival chit chat, and the Q&A, that'll be questions for the presenter. Okay.
So what I'm going to do is there's somebody who's not muted.
Mute yourself, Richard. Mute yourself.
Sorry?
Yes, he's muted. So basically, I'm going to introduce Andrea. Andrea's been teaching pipes for about 20 years. I'm just reading off the script. She's an international teacher. Been teaching in sort of Berlin, all over the place. She runs a festival in Germany, which I played at several times. Fantastic, intense, sort of maybe 4 days or 5 days, sometimes longer. Bagpipe, dance, music, all sorts of instruments. Festival. It's fantastic thing to go on. I'll let her talk about what she wants to introduce in this about her workshop herself. But the other thing that I have to do in this next few seconds is it's Andrea's birthday today. So we arranged the blowout especially for Andrea. So there's a tune that I have to play on the bagpipes. There we go.
Thank you so much.
Right, I shall mute myself now and hand you over to Andrea. Okay.
Hello everybody. I hope you can hear me good. Give me hello. Okay. I've never thought that I would celebrate my birthday in my living room with so much people from all over the world, and I'm really happy to be with you. And I hope you've seen the title of my workshop, A Revised Song. And don't be surprised if I compared it sometimes with the kitchen or bakery. You know, that might be from some TV shows, a revised bakery, a revised apple pie. And we will do a little bit the same with music. That means we take the main ingredients. That means the main notes from the melody, but we will change a little bit. We will give them a twist with other rhythms, and on that we will look how are the dance rhythms, what are the typical elements of some dances, etc. Like I've written in my description, I've chosen a tune what is one of the first tunes what I've played on the bagpipe. It's a very known folk song here in Germany, Kommt ihr spielen, a song from mid 17th century from Melchior Frank, a composer in early music. But this Melchior Frank wasn't the inventor of the melody. On some research, I found out that the melody is much older, and I'm pretty sure that some of you knows that title as Hans Up, a very popular song. David told me that he has made different versions with his folk orchestra, here in Germany, we played it mostly as a waltz. And if you're curious to know more about the song and the history, then go to the link on the sheet music, and there you can find some examples with recordings and a little bit about the history. Go on the link, put in the password drone, and you get a lot of music. Okay, to present you the tune, I will play it just one time as waltz. This is the version what we use most in sessions here in Germany. Okay, the music was on the first tune, the first revised tune on my sheet music. The very first tune on the sheet music is the original, noted in an older kind of notation from Melchior Frank. And you can see the walls, and for you, and that we will use in the workshop, you can see beside the walls numbers. If we play drone instruments or general folk music, is mostly dance music, and if we want to revise some title or folk songs, then we need the knowledge of the rhythms and the accents in the dance. And if you see behind the waltz, the one is black, that means the accent on waltz, you know that already is the one. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Another very important point is how fast or slow we play the tune. I've marked behind a note of the metronome, it's 180. You can play it slower, you can play it quicker. It is not the absolutely number what you have to use, but that would be a very good tempo to dance a waltz in a very comfortable way. How it is important to have this knowledge? It is my colleague François Lazarevich. he's made a sentence that is musicien pour la danse, c'est un métier. That will say dance musician. It's dance musicien pour a dance musician. It's like a profession, and it means if you want to play that the dancers really enjoy this music and they love to dance on your music, then you need to respect some points like rhythm, tempo, etc. Okay, let's start with the waltz. If you're happy, I hope you have tuned your instruments, and we take the tempo a little bit slower, and we play just the waltz. If you can't read sheet music, you can look on my fingers, and we can play it together. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I hope you have the main melody. It's really simple. It's just in range of 1 octave, and it's used simple patterns like triads. This ba da da. It's a simple G major triad, and or melody parts like a scale da 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 da. We will keep these notes, we will use these main melody aspects, but we will change later the rhythm, and we bring it in another kind of dance. Okay, just I gave you the reference of 180. I share with you just my screen. I hope it works. You can use, I recommend to use from time to time a metronome. I personally don't like to play on a metronome every time, but just to have a reference of the tempo, it's really brilliant to have a metronome. And there are online metronomes like this. Okay, you can see that metronome. Can you say you can see the metronome? What I have here? Okay, if I have 180 BP, can you hear that? No, you can't, though, isn't it? Can you
we
hear?
can hear that. All right, we can hear that.
You can hear that?
Yep.
Okay, brilliant. Okay. Okay, this is 4 times, and now it's 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, turn around, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's a typical waltz. Ya da da ba da 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 ba da ba da ba da ba da. Okay, I would love to play that. How I can stop the sharing the screen? Just 1 moment, because I can't see. I have my camera too deep. Okay. Stop. Okay, this. Okay, I'm back. And I would love to play now the same melody with you in a tempo like a waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Use your body. If you play, it's extremely helpful to use your feet and your body to give you more of the feeling of the rhythm. If you play, even if you practice at home, that gives you more the feeling to make dance music. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and. Okay, in the last round I made some ornaments. It was like a small vibrato or some trials. That's very typical for a round dance, like a waltz. Harder ornaments like I don't know, some grace notes don't work that well with waltzes. That I use usually more softer ornaments for the waltz. Okay, let's turn to another tune. One of the original is I told you is the tune Hands Up. Hands Up was a jig, and the second tune you have the jig. I think you're very familiar with this rhythm because in English tradition you have a lot of jigs in 6/8 time, and 6/8 you have every time two packets of 3 notes, the takata, 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 and the one is the note with the accent. That means if you turn around, let's go me around here, then you have this bouncing, dancing, takata, 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 and this we have to bring in the music. That means in the melody, we have just changed the notes in they're not long like in waltz, they are shorter. And I think we can play it directly, the jig, like it's written, the melody is ba da 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 da. Dance a little bit, think a little bit the dancers like they like the dance. And another thing to what I can recommend you, look from time to time. If you don't feel sure with the dance, go on YouTube and search for the dance, for Bourrée or a waltz or something, or polska, and look how the dancers dance, and or take another tune from a CD or another recording as a model and a reference that will help you to play really dance music. Now let's play the jig. You can. It is just 4 bars. That means if I repeat it, I've just 8. It's normally fantastic to play a chapelloise, because chapelloise, you have 4 bars to go in one direction, 4 to go in the other direction, and then the second part is just with this jumping, and this is again just 8 bars. That would be brilliant to dance a chapelloise on this. We will play this. Da-ka-da, 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 da-ka-da. 1, 2, 3, and. Et voilà, and we have made from a waltz, it is back to a jig. Okay, I can't do, you have seen maybe I've prepared 10 different versions. Can you hear me? I have something on my, okay, then I continue even if I hear something strange in my headphones. I've prepared 10 different versions, and it's too much for this one workshop of 1 hour. But if you're interested, I was yesterday evening in my rehearsal room and made recordings of all tunes. And in the end of the workshop, I give you the link, or I send it to David. And you can download the recordings, what I've made yesterday, on G-pipes, all tunes with ornaments, etc. I will jump over the Bourrée à Straton, and I will go to the Mazurka. We are back in a 3-time rhythm, and you surely were asked often, what's the difference between a waltz and a Mazurka? And some people think, okay, it is nearly the same, but in fact it isn't, because if you look on the time signature, what I've made, not a time signature, the metronome, I've marked for the waltz 180. It was already fast, and the Mazurka is 135. That is much slower. And the biggest change is in the accent. You have the 1 and the 3. And you have one thing, if you remember, you maybe know this famous Mazurka from Maxou Heinze, L'Inconnu de l'Oise. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-dee-da. It starts, a lot of mazurkas, especially traditional mazurkas or mazurkas who are composed the traditional way, starts with 1 or more pickup notes, and then the 1 is a repeated note, and it's like ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, and a lot of, you can look, a lot of mazurkas, especially French mazurkas, they start like this. So what I've made, I've changed a little bit the melody and our song Kommt ich spielen. starts with repeated note. It's not as long as a repeated note. Just that you can hear the example, I will play it one time for you. Me personally, if I'm not sure from the time, I have another mazurka, what I really love, and this is my reference to play mazurka. It's the song Marguerite. It's a traditional song from France, and it's on the first CD of Bunyatsound, played from Julian Babon's on the cabaret. And it's la Marguerite, la petite, vous avez de jolis yeux, mais vous êtes trop petite pour avoir un amoureux. And this is my reference. If I play mazurka, I take it in my mind, and then I have the 3-1, 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. That means we start with a 3, and I play it one time for you, and then we can try it together. Bam. Okay, that would be you have this little, maybe if you're a dancer, then you know the traditional kind to dance, the French traditional style to dance mazurka is with this little hop. Maybe you remember, I show you that just one time. I know it looks maybe silly, but eventually it tells you. You have this hop. 2, 3, 1, 2, hop, da, 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 hop. And to support this little hop, what is on the repeated note on the beginning of the melody, you can put in there ornament. It's called rappel. That tells you something. You play the main note is. It's extremely rappel is placed on the first note of the repetition, and you play the main note very short, and then you can go down to your basic note. It's for us is the G. I show you that one time. Then, if you don't know the name rappel, maybe you know the ornament from playing. Can do that with other notes as well. And so on. And we put it on the G. You have to be a little bit careful on the high G, because if you give too much pressure, then the low G is a little bit sharp and aggressive. It is like and you have to not to push too much. We take the tempo just a little bit slower, and we try to play the rappel, and the first position, if we start ba da ba da 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 dee da da da, there we could put a rappel again in, but we don't do that because there is not this hop in the dance. And then we continue da 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 dee da 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 da, and the second line we can do this again, a rappel da da ba. The rappel would be on the E. And then we continue. Of course, you can put other ornaments in, like vibrato or trials or whatever you want and love to play. Rhythm is 3-1, 3-1. Mazurka, Mazurka. 1, 1. Again, the A part. Okay, in the B part we could do the same, but it sounds not that fantastic to have the rappel on the B. You can do that, but it is not this effectful like on higher notes. Yeah, let's just play this tune again, maybe in this tempo what we have, and if you feel comfortable, I will speed. We can play it 2 times, and maybe in the third round I will speed up a little bit the tempo. Mazurka, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, and. we have a mazurka. It is a little bit different if we change our time signature. We have played the waltz, it's 3/4. Now the mazurka is 3/4. Okay, the jig, that doesn't count because it's too easy to bring 3/4 rhythm in a 6/8. But it is a little bit more tricky to bring it in a 2-time signature or 4-time signature. And I have picked for this an example what is an arrangement from a colleague from Germany, Wolfgang Meyring, a great mandolin player and a great singer, and he's put that, he's changed it or revised, like I told you, that in a Scottish. He has used the elements, what is important for a Scottish, that means we have the rhythm 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and this 1 and is in, it's not like before that we have the 1, this is, you see that in short notes, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Should be a little bit swinging, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. If you're not a dancer, I will show you just a little bit how it's danced. I apologize. Okay, it's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and hap and 1 and 2 and da 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 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and down, turn, turn, turn. This is the dance. This is our reference, what we want to use, and just to have a small look how fast we have to play it. It's 130. I would love to go back to the metronome, what we have already used. Okay, hope you can see that I have to turn that down to 135. It is a number what I've chosen from looking on dancers, and can you hear that? It is more, you know, in traditional French music, they are not that fast. I know a lot of people, especially younger dancers, they love if it's a little bit faster, if it's a little bit more, you know, quirky. But sorry, it's 3 times, no, second time, 2 and 1 and 2 and okay, problems. I hope you can hear that. Did with 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. I played for you 1 time the Scottish arrangement from Wolfgang Meyring, but you will be happy if you play it. And if you love the arrangements, what I've prepared for you, you're free to use it. There are no rights on it, and you're of course free to change again the variations, etc. Okay. Okay, before I start, I have to tune my instrument. 1 moment. Okay, better. One and 2 and 1 and 2. Okay, I hope you have recognized our first melody, our da 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 da. It was already in. Of course, there's some changements and there's some notes they haven't existed before, but that are notes that are not that important for the main melody, and we still keep the elements what I've explained in the beginning, like triads or scale-like melody parts. And that's it. I've explained this 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and if you look on the sheet music, you can see very well this is really respected by the arrangement. Is yam taka taka da, yam taka taka da, 1 and 2, and yam taka taka da, dum taka da da, yam taka dum taka dum taka 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 da. If you played it, especially the faster notes in the end of the first line, try to think this 1 and 2 and yam ba da 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 da. It is the accent would be on the dum da da da. This C is already again an accent da 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 da. We take a slower tempo and we play it. I know it is very fast that I go with you through the material, but if you want to learn more about dance music general and how to play different styles of music, maybe music from different regions, then come back to my workshop in Halsey Manor next year. We will do that together with David, and then we can enjoy a whole weekend playing music, dance music. We take this tempo. It's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. You have maybe remarked in the B part there is a small syncope. It is called syncope. If you have the a note made longer, syncope. You know that? Okay. Then you have ba da da dee da and ba da be da 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 dee da and ba da be da. It makes a little more style in this. Is I think Wolfgang Meiring, he's made it extra to make to give them a little bit more interesting elements. Okay, hope you have enjoyed that, and then we go on to another tune. We have still a little bit more time. David, can you give me feedback how long we have?
2:45, Andrea.
Okay, then we are
another half an hour.
Okay, then I'm really happy.
You can be pretty chilled, Andrea. Do more dancing.
Okay. Okay. Maybe a question on the viewers and participants. Is it too fast for you, or do you want to repeat some more for example, the Scottish or Mazurka or something like this? Maybe give us small feedback. Then.
I can. So, does anybody have any questions that they want to put so far?
You can put the questions in the Q&A. Find the Q&A button next to the chat button on the screen. You can put questions in there. We haven't had any specific questions apart from about how to get hold of your recordings.
Or the music.
And the music. So we've gone links for the music. Oh, we got something just come up there. Can we have the Bourrée one, please?
What?
Is that the 3/8 Bourrée?
The 3/8 Bourrée. Yeah, of course. We can do that. I jumped just over because I wasn't sure about the time, and it was important for me to go from a 3-time tempo to 2-time tempo. But if you love, of course, you're curious about the Bourrée à 3-time Bourrée à 3 temps, and it is for a reason under the jig. If you have a little bit parallel to use the sheet music, because I personally don't love sheet music that much to play music. Normally my lessons are learning by hearing, but sheet music is really brilliant to see something in rhythm. This is the only thing where sheet music is really fantastic, because there's clear where are the accents and how long the notes are, etc. And if you look on the jig, remember what we've played the jig. This was ba da 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 da, shake the hand and ba da da. You know that from dancing. And Bourrée à 3 temps use, if you look right, nearly the beginning from the jig. You know, it's just separated in 2 bars. That means it's dam da dam bam 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 da dam ba da di da. I've used a little bit more elements, of course, because you know Bourrée à 3 temps is more powerful dance. It is da 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 da. They dance. You can dance it as a couple dance, that you come like a Bourrée à 2 temps. I will show you just the difference between the 2 dances. We have the one dance from what is danced also in Centre France, nearly the same style as Bourrée à 2 temps. And then is the Auvergnat style. It is a little bit another form for dancing. I will do that again. Hope you don't laugh about me. Okay, at first the form from the normal. Imagine I have something here, and Bourrée à 2 temps is ba da da, 1 2 1 2 ba da 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 da, and then the B part is the turning part, etc. Maybe you have seen that already. If not, go on YouTube, look for Bourrée à 3 temps. You can dance the 3-time Bourrée nearly in the same way. It is dum ba da dum ba da 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 dum ba da 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 da. My partner comes to me and I go back da da da, and again da da dum ba da, and I go back, forward and then back, and the turning part B ba da da dum, turning part B ba da da dum. This is a very known variation of this dance and easy to learn. A little bit different is the Bourrée à 3 temps and Auvergne style dancing. You have also as a couple dance where you don't touch, and it's ba da da dum ba da 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 dum ba da da dum ba da da dum bum da 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 dum ba da 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 dum ba da da dum ba da da dum, and the B part ba da da dum da 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 ba da 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 dum, or you turn around like this, bum 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 bum. Okay, this is what we want to make the melody to dance, that we can dance these dances on it.
I think one of the things we're learning, Andrea, is how important it is to dance.
Yeah, and if you're not a dancer, then please look really carefully how they dance, what they do, and I know it is not every time very easy because some dancers they don't know today what they have to dance, and but there are some really good dance tutorials on YouTube, and then you can see really how the real dance is, and take this as an example. Or you start dancing. Okay. It is much faster than other 3-time dance because we have written 120 that seems to be slower than the 180, but in this 120 we count not the quarter, we don't we count the 8. I don't know what is in English. You will understand. I've written that. You see the 1, 2, 3 on which note is referred. And the rhythm is 3-1, 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. Another thing I told you at the beginning: use your body and your feet to help you in rhythm. I know the 3-time Bourrée, to step your feet and to play that if it's fast, it's really difficult. But it really counts off if you do that, practice that, and you will play much more stable in regarding the tempo, and you will play much more danceable music. Okay, I have just to change my seat here. Normally, I don't play that much sitting down. It's really already with Speedy Gonzalez, and of course we take it slower. You remarked maybe I've used for ornaments the same ornaments in the Mazurka, the rappel. It is copied from the French Auvergnat style, from the cabaret. We use that not for just for repeated notes, also if we go up in melody. I'll give you an example. And so on. You can use that to give a little bit more power in the melody. And French traditional music loves to make trials everywhere to make it more virtuous, or maybe I don't know why, but it is really typical in French music. They love to do it. It's maybe like Scottish love to do grace notes and to make the da da and the doubling on a lot of notes. French pipers love to do triads. Our rhythm reference is like in the In the Mazurka, just a little bit faster. 3-1, 3-1, bam, 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 bam. I don't want to play it too slow, because if I play it too slow, it comes directly another, just not maximum fast. It's a little bit slower than usually, but 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 1, 3, 1, and. Okay, I think we can speed up a little bit. 3-1, 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. It will be our new tempo. Take your feet. A lot of colleagues in France, they use one feet for 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the other for 3-1, 3-1. I do that on both feet. It is 3-1, 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. It is easier if you're playing and not to use to put one feet every time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just try it. There are no allowed or not allowed. It is just, if you use that, you're better in rhythm. It's 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. This is our new tempo. 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. 3-1, 3-1, and. Okay, hope it was already okay for you. Then we take the tempo again a little bit faster. If you have difficulties to play the rappel and trials in the fast tempo, leave it. It is better to play the melody proper with a good intonation and on the point of the rhythm, as to make ornaments they're not good placed or not well made. Leave it, play just the normal melody, and but we will do that again. Tempo is beam 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. 3, 1, 3, 1, and. Okay, this was Bourrée à trois temps. It sounds a little bit crazy because a lot of Bourrée à trois temps, 3 times Bourrées are not in major, or they're just, it's more in C major than in G major. In general, we play more in C, if you play major or minor in C than in G. But it works, and you can take if you're at home, you just want to try how it works on maybe on a Christmas song or something like this. Don't be shy. Try to change a very familiar song and maybe to look how it sounds to play Jingle Bells as a Bourrée à trois temps. It could be a funny thing also for your session or for your band. If you choose a folk song and everybody comes back with a new version, a revised version of the song, and maybe you have a new creation for your next session evening or for your band, etc. Okay, there's some questions.
There's a kind of request perhaps to do one of the 5, either the 5-time or 7/8, and also somebody would like to do the Strathspey as well. So whether we got time to do one of the unusual times.
I can. I think I would love to do the 5-time waltz with you, and if you have a little bit time again, this Strathspey. Because I'm sure some of you are from Scottish piping originally, and I think how can a German piper write a Strathspey? Is it possible? Has she knowledge? Let's start with the Strathspey. Strathspey is not. Of course, you in the UK and in Scotland and Scottish piper, they know this tune. But honestly, in Germany, if I tell you someone I play Strathspey, they look at me, okay, what kind? It's no, they don't have a reference for this. But I've prepared some workshops for Scottish music on G pipes. And I have to tell you, I'm not that specialist for Scottish music in general, but I heard a lot of Scottish tunes, I observed pipers, and I watched tutorials, and I tried to find ornaments what corresponds with G pipes and half close fingering like we play, very good, and ornaments who are really supportive for us, because for my taste, sometimes the Scottish piper, they make too much in the melodies. It's like you have already a fantastic cake, and then they put cream on and other sugar and flowers, and in the end of the day, you can't see the cake, and you can't have just this all this decoration. And in music sometimes it's like this, if it's too much, it's too much, but it's a question of taste. And the Strathspey there is a tune what is in 4 times time signature, and all 4 have an accent. That means it is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is not like the others. You have the one and the end is not with an accent, or 1, 2, 3. It is really 1, 2, 3, 4. And very typical in Scottish music is this Scotch snap, this bada, 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 you know that. And I've used that elements to write a new Strathspey. I present it for you. It is not the Strathspey. I think it's a difference between just played as an instrumental version or danced version. I choose a tempo for the dance. I've watched videos where they dance Strathspey, and then the 120 refers to a dance tempo, but it can be a little bit faster or slower. You will find the best tempo for you. Okay, just play it for you. Okay, I think it was just a little bit too slow. I will play it again just a little bit faster. I think it is easier to dance this tune if it's a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, sorry, I think I've forgotten the repetition of the beat part. But it doesn't matter. If it's easy, if it's also not that important, if you want to create your own Strathspey, for example, I'm not sure, but I don't think they have any rules where they put the Scotch snap. It could be some Strathspeys are really regular. They have the Scotch snap every time as the fourth or the second note, but some are really mixed off. Then they have one bar. There's the Scotch snap in the second position, and the next bar on the third, and sometimes they use this more than one time in one bar. You just have to give them. The Scotch snap is very is a so typical element of this music. You have just to bring it in. It's not enough to play really strong 1, 2, 3, 4. The Scotch snap is really it's like the vanilla in your cake, you know. Without the vanilla, it is not that tasty. It is not too much, but it is really delicious with. And the Scotch snap is really important and delicious if you play a Strathspey or create your own Strathspey. Okay, I hope you understand a little bit the way where we go, you know. All what I've written for you, it's just an example. You can take your own tunes, you can change them, revise them, take the main parts of the melody, what is really typical for your folk tune, and leave them to use it, and then change the rhythm, find new elements, but look carefully on the rhythm, think about the dance. Also, if you make your own compositions, it is really to hear if someone has composed something and things behind the composition. Oh, okay, I have a nice tune. What could it be? Could it be a waltz or mazurka or something like this? It makes a huge difference. Some musicians take, for example, compositions, Grégory Jolivet, you know them. I think everybody knows Grégory Jolivet. If Grégory compose the Bourrée de ton, 2 times Bourrée, then you feel it is exactly, it's really on point for this dance. Why is it like this? Because Grégory has played hundreds of traditional Bourrée, 2-time Bourrées in his life as he were a beginner. And then he composed the melodies with having in the head, okay, it should be a Bourrée à 3 temps or Bourrée à 2 temps or something like this. And then it is composed for this dance. It is not, okay, I have a nice melody. It could be a polka or a Scottish or something like this, you know? It makes a difference. Let's go to the 5-time waltzes on the same page like the Strathspey, under the Strathspey.
So about 5 minutes, just about 5 minutes left.
Okay.
So 5-time would be good.
Okay, I will do the 5-time because it's not this difficult. And just to explain you, if you see that the 5-time starts with a long note, 1, 2, and then 3 short notes. And a lot of people think we count that 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, but it isn't. It is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2. Because the turning part of the 5-time waltz is the first part. They turn like a waltz, and it is the 1, 2, 3. And after this, you come to the 1, 2. Even if the notes on the sheet music tells you, will suggest you, it starts with 2 and after this 1, 2, 3. I played for you, and if you feel happy, then you can already join and play with me. If not, we play it again. A good tempo with me. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Use your feet. 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Each one is a feet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, that's a 5-time waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. If you I tell you again, maybe I can share it directly. One moment. please. It opens that. What? I can do that. Can I put that in this answer in this chat thing here that I put
that should be
in
fine.
the
Put it in chat.
okay.
Okay.
Is this? I've put the recordings on my Google Drive. You can see that here is in the end. You can see now it's a Drive, Google.com, etc. There you can find recordings of all tunes that are 10 different versions from Waltz to Ambro. And you can hear it just to enjoy, or you try to revisit the melodies again, or whatever you want. Take it as a model, or yeah, you hope you enjoyed and you have learned a bit about dance music and how you can take any tune and make it your own.
Thank you very much, Andrea. That's fantastic. Let's give it. I'm going to unmute myself and give Andrea a clap. Whoa, fun! Fantastic. Do people want to unmute themselves now, or if they can?
They can't, but they can put up that. In fact, I'm going to start bringing people back into the room, and we can all chat then, and we can do that. So I'll bring people back in the room, and
okay, I see some chats now.
Yeah.
Okay, I really hope you enjoyed it. I think some people love the workshop, and yeah, it's a little bit different. It's not like normally you learn just a tune and then you, at the end of the day, you're alone with your tune. I teach so much, and I've so much students from beginners to up to advanced players, and just to encourage you to make good dance music.
Yeah, what I see is it's so important to know and understand dancing if you're playing for dancing, because I mean the differences, the melodic differences between the tunes are not that great, but the feel between the different dances
exactly,
and that's we should really make all bagpipe players dance. I'm sure that's what we need to do. So some people are saying in a super fabulous workshop, fabulous, super, thank you, brilliant. So yeah, so that's lovely. So thank you.
People can unmute to ask questions now.
Andrea, who made your pipes?
My pipes are from Bodo Schulz, a German pipes maker who makes instruments since more than nearly 30 years. And it's a French model, it's a French model, but it is made in Germany.
Can you say his name one more time?
It's Bodo Schulz. It's the first name is Bodo. It's Bodo, and Schulz is Schulz. Schulz, Bodo, bagpipe maker.
Thank you.
There was workshops in France that I did, and also in Belgium, where the pipers all had to do dance workshops during the day. You know.
Compulsory, is it?
Yes, it was. Yeah, very definitely. Yeah, it was part of the workshop. You had an hour learning dance. How could you be a piper and play dance tunes?
Yeah, but it's. I think it's really good if dance workshop are proposed parallel, or at least as a part of the workshop weekend or the festival, because it's our sources, our notre racine in the music, And if you have never seen that someone plays dance the mazurka, how you can play mazurka on a good way, But YouTube, we have YouTube, and that helps a lot. Even if you can't travel now on the festivals, and we have no workshops and so on, watch on YouTube. There are a lot of videos with good dancers and good music, or other video platforms.
Okay. Does anybody else have any specific questions or non-specific questions? No?
Yes. Well, Andrew, you said you put a link up with the tunes, and I can't see, it's not arrived my end.
Well, you know what? I put it again in this, and maybe it's gone in the discussion. Is this on the chat line?
Yeah.
I've got it. Fantastic. That was a fantastic workshop to understand all the differences between those dances, because I'm not particularly familiar with all the differences, and to run through that was fantastic. I've got notes all over the music I printed, so I can go back and
I'm really happy about it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And really use that material. And even if you use just the numbers, what I've written, to know where the accent is in the dance, it helps already. Or to take your metronome, put the number in, and give you an idea how fast or how slow you have to play this.
So one of the other things, as well as this very comprehensive list of different types of tunes, Andrea also produced a live document where you can click onto pictures, and the pictures will swing around and give you a sound file, which you should have all received. And if you don't know where it is, on the front page of this,
on the sheet music. Yeah, the sheet music for introduction.
There's a web address on it that you can click on or go to. It's on the Bagpipe Society webpage. I've probably sent it to everybody at least 3 or 4 times. So it's all there, and if you click on it, it's password protected, but you get all different sound files of different styles of this tune as well, including contemporary jazz, which is very interesting.
Very interesting.
To think that all these sort of groovy musicians, I know we're all groovy musicians too, but all those other groovy musicians are kind of thinking that's a good thing to do with a tune like this. So that's really great. I can hear the melodion.
Someone's playing the melodion.
Or is it a concertina? I can't tell.
It's so boring. Then now he has started to play the concertina.
So, thank you very much, Andrea.
You're really welcome. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you again. Ian said it already, and thank you, David, and all the Bagpipe Society, and Stephen, of course, for the preparation and all this hard work. I'm myself an organizer, and I know. That takes hours and nobody see how much you have worked. Thank you so much.
Have you got a big party planned for this evening, Andrea?
No, unfortunately not. But next year. Okay.
Well, have a very happy rest of the birthday.
Thank you.
If you have somebody gets you a big cake, and you can eat it.
I have already one made by my daughter Claire.
Okay, fantastic. The next, I shall move on to just saying what's happening next and say goodbye to Andrea. You can stay around, enjoy the moment, or whichever you prefer. But what's happening now is we're now moving to a virtual bar, and this is a moment when you can go and make yourself a drink, and then we're going to at 3. Probably about 7 minutes past, I'm going to start introducing Ian Galston, so we can get him on at 3:10, because this is all very tightly scheduled. And so to say about it, in the Chanter magazine, there's normally an article at the back of the paper of the magazine called "In the Bag," an interview developed by Andy Lecture. And what we're going to do this time is we're going to do it live. And for some reason, I've called it out of the bag instead of in the bag. I don't know whether it's a leaky bag or what. But we're going to have, so at 3:10, we're going to have Ian. And then that will move on at 3:35 to Eric's workshop later. So the program is up, shared on screen. So you can want to go and find yourselves, get yourselves a drink, whatever you need to do, and come back for more virtual fun in a few minutes. So I'm going to probably go and put the kettle on. So you're allowed to chat to each other and say things if you want. You can unmute yourselves and say things like, Julian, that's a fantastic hat, or you know, or whatever else you want to say to Julian, or kind of don't sit on the bagpipes or on the chair, Mary or Jerry, or whatever else you need to say. So Steve, I just want to check something with you, because I've just had a little message from Becky to say they're just wondering about their check-in time. So if they're on at
to email it to me, email that message.
Yes, she texted it to me actually.
Okay.
So basically, they can log in at 5 past 5 or thereabouts.
And I will send her an email now.
Yes, she had a moment thinking she was on at 3 for some reason.
Oh right, okay.
But it is yeah, that's cool. Okay. Right, I shall vacate this screen and be back soon. So go and make yourselves a drink, and thank you again, Andrea. That was fabulous.
Yeah, you're welcome.
To seeing you live next time. So when you want to demonstrate a dance, I can get up and leap around the room with you.
Yeah. Yeah, if you go on the website, I don't know, it's already there for the for the bagpipe weekend in Horsey Manor next year. Then David and me, we will be there, and hope we can play together, David.
Yeah, I'm sure, and have a dance. I shall mute myself and vacate.
Okay.
And
hello, Julian. Hello, Stephen. You're doing a great job there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was very amused by the metronome suggestions there, Andrea.
Yeah.
I was recording a Mazurka, and I put a note out saying, "What's the optimum speed for a Mazurka?" And within about 2 minutes, I got a reply, "Too slow for the musicians."
Yeah.
Oh, I can't work with a metronome. Oh no.
Yeah, it is just a good orientation. It is not, you know, if you have a little bit an idea, you can play it a little bit faster or slower. Doesn't matter.
When we started doing contra, we had to do the dances so fast. It's absolutely insane. So we had to actually time how long the dances were taking. And even with the metronome, and sort of like, then when we play the same tunes for Morris, it's like, really? It's so slow, I've forgotten what the next note is.
Yeah, but it is good to ask sometimes the dancers, is the tempo good for you, or you prefer that we play it a little bit faster or something like this? You know, you can completely wrong, because you feel in your comfort zone, but the dancer not, you know.
I counted in the number of broken ankles we get in a session.
Yeah.
The dancers, not the musicians.
I'm with Quantz on this one. I think he in the 18th century, he's recommended tapping your foot and counting the beat against your own pulse.
Okay.
Yeah, but look what happened when Lully was tapping his foot with his stick.
Okay.
Yeah, come on, bad idea. Don't use a stick.
Well, no, yeah, not with a stick. Just tap your foot. Yeah. Yeah. I played some jazz a few years ago. We tried it with a metronome, and I couldn't play for laughing.
I think the thing about metronome is it can't give you the emphasis. Just like in something like the 5-time waltz, you've actually got to think about the steps. Same with the mazurka. The mazurkas are 1, 2, 3. The metronome will just give you 1, 2, 3, but it won't give you the lift that's on the second beat.
Well, it's what you were saying. It's what you were saying about the different bourrées. I remember doing sort of like a 2.5-hour workshop learning a single Morvan bourrée. And just the difference between a Morvan 3-time bourrée and an Auvergne 3-time bourrée is incredible. It's just so much. The beat is just so emphasized, but you can play the same tunes. And you can't get that with a metronome.
Yeah, it is just an orientation, I think, the metronome.
Something else I've got to mention, it's so funny, you would have noticed it, Stephen. In Australia, nobody talks with their hands. So seeing you, Andrea, talk with your hands, it's the first time since I went over to Europe last time that I've seen people so expressive with their hands. Seriously, it's something you really miss. It's not a bad thing, it's just something you notice. I noticed when you started, I just haven't seen people talking with their hands as much as Europeans. Thank you.
All the other people are gone.
I'm back in a minute. Gonna vacate the room anyway.
Oh, he hasn't. Well, it's funny. We've got the sunshine, but we haven't got the beer.
Cheers.
Has anyone got beer?
I have water.
We're all getting older. Oh, Stephen, you've got an empty tankard there.
It's currently midnight here. I'm not going to be drinking beer. I'll be lucky if I make it till 2 a.m.
Where's your stamina? I was running an Anglo-Concertina workshop online on Zoom, and there was a guy down in South Australia, and he finished the workshop by having breakfast with us.
Yeah, well, I really want to make it to the concert. I was going to ask, are the concerts going to be online later?
They might be.
I hope so, because I probably
don't tell him, otherwise he won't stay up for them.
As if you want to keep me, Julian.
Oh,
bless you.
It's great to see you. I haven't seen you for ages, David.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's such a shame.
Yeah.
Your name keeps coming up, and I say, yeah, I know, Julian. They don't believe me because they think you're so famous and I'm a nobody.
Yeah, we are recording them.
Oh, excellent. I've just been asked to help out with some at the early music director of UQ. We're doing some early music workshops with early musicians. And I've just been asked to go along and do a bagpipe thing in next month sometime, which will be really good fun.
Do early musicians start at 6 a.m?
Well, they definitely don't start at 4:15.
So, Andrew, is your daughter bagpiping yet?
No, she's playing diatonic accordion. And at the moment, she's less interested in traditional music because since 2 years she's a DJ and already a little bit more successful in DJing than in playing accordion. But she's still in music. And it's okay. But she's grown up, you know. Last time maybe you have seen her like this, and now she's like this. She's 18 already, you know.
18, gosh.
Yeah, it's a young woman, young lady, you know. It's time goes quick, you know.
That's right.
And now we have lost 2 years, you know. I really hear this about the Le Son Connu is cancelled again, and It is. I love this festival, and I try to be there every year. It's maybe the only date where I'm there each year, and it's cancelled again, you know. But I hope all of you, if you have the possibility to go one time to the festival in France, the old festival from Serchatier is now called Le Son Contenu. This is really a big highlight for each piper to be there. I read just there are some things. Oh, you're really kind with all your comments.
I just thought, I didn't take part in it, Andrea, but I thought it was so well thought out and well, well explained. And, I can't speak much French at all, let alone German. To do something like that in a language which isn't your first language, I just want to, it was really good.
Oh, this is, that I was a little bit afraid about this. It is a language, but it was also, I've made one-to-one lessons on Zoom and other platforms, but I didn't know how it will work to have a group. You all were in mute, just David and Stephen. They were. Then I can hear them, and it's just teaching you're on a theater and you're on the stage and you don't see anybody. It's giving a workshop like this. Normally a workshop situation is also interaction, and the participants, they have some questions or can give some individual help or something like this. But it was a strange situation. But it works. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, I think you're all back for the next workshop. And I want to say goodbye. It's my birthday, and now I go into second phase of partying. First party was with the Bagpipe Society, and now I will do the second party with my daughter. and I say bye-bye, and hope to see you soon, and maybe in Horsey or on the festival. Okay, enjoy the Blowout Festival.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you again for inviting me and for the preparation. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Well, very shortly we're going to be having our next little section starting. There's I'm noticing in the Q&A there are no open questions. 8 have been answered and none have been dismissed. Well, I'm glad we haven't dismissed anybody. So which is great, and I noticed that Stephanie's managed to get in now, which is good. So yeah. So that was grand.
Yeah.
Check that I have sound.
Okay.
Do you hear me all right?
Who are we talking? Who's saying
this? This is Eric from Sweden.
Here we are.
I just thought I'd take the chance to check the sound here while we are waiting.
You are a little quiet there, Eric.
Okay, great. I'll pop up the volume in the microphone.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
So, Ian, you okay?
Yeah.
Good. So,
hello, everybody.
Cheers.
We'll give it another. We'll give it another 2 minutes. So with this next section, I might start just sort of saying something about the next section, and then so it doesn't eat into the next section. So I can start blathering now, and then by my clock it's 8 minutes past. So this next running up to this, we've been having some of us have been having monthly bagpipe sessions where we've sort of themed them around different maybe it's been Playford, the Vicar's manuscripts, early music, what else we had, technical sessions, easy tunes for D pipes we've had, and I think that's
Swedish music.
Swedish, well, that was something else, Eric. That wasn't just this. That was, and Eric came and he did a workshop for one of my folk orchestras, which was great, and so we've been doing quite a lot of stuff for bagpipes on a monthly sort of session. And what happened is on one of the monthly sessions, somebody said, "Oh, they've got a new favourite tune, and it's Ian Galston's Rant." And I said, "Who the is that?" So, and it turned out it was a tune written by Matt Seattle, who we all know. And if you don't know who Matt Seattle is, where have you been? So, and you need to go out and buy all his publications. So, so this was a tune written by Matt for Ian, and so they'd sent me the music to do in this technical session, but then they also said, I checked it out online, and what it meant was that I came across Ian's SoundCloud. Is it SoundCloud? All that sort of stuff. And there's a lot of recordings that Ian's put out on and which is great. It's very to my mind it's very distinct. It's kind of from a British style of playing, but uses all sorts of it's not a particularly Scottish tradition of playing. But it's looking at older manuscripts. It's sort of, some of it's quite technical, very musical playing. So I was kind of quite drawn to it, and I was kind of thought, how come I don't know this bloke? So I thought, well, I'll tell you what, I've randomly phoned this chap up and decided to have a conversation. So that got us to me thinking about this online Blowout. So and then of course then it made sense really thinking about it, to invite Ian to be part of this, and perhaps to structure this next 20 minutes around in the bag, not out of the bag. In the bag is the in the back of the Chanter magazine, which is a Bagpipe Society monthly, quarterly, whatever it is, periodical, which is put together by Jane Mulder, fantastic magazine. And there's always in the back of it a little article which is called "In the Bag," and it's basically an interview that people fill out themselves, and Andy Letcher asks various questions. So that's given me the structure for asking this. So basically, what we're going to do for the next short while, I think we've started now.
Yeah.
So
I think we have.
Yeah. So I'd like to. What's going to happen is we're going to ask a few questions. We're going to hear a couple of sets of tunes, and then if we've got time at the end, anybody else can ask questions as well. And that's a sort of a general plan. Does that sounds about what we're expecting? Is that right, Ian?
Yeah, I think so.
So
can you hear me all right? Welcome,
Ian, to the Bagpipe Society online Blowout online.
Thank you very much.
So so I'll just use the questions. So it doesn't. None of it says where you are, but anyway, what it does say, it starts that maybe you could say who you are and where are you.
Okay. Well, I'm Ian Galston. I'm in South Shields on Tyneside, right at the mouth of the River Tyne. And I've played pipes for a lot of years, but not border pipes for about 10 years, I think, maybe a little bit more. I started learning Northumbrian small pipes when I was in my 20s, long time ago. Kind of always wanted to play border pipes. Ordered a set from John, and then ran out of money, and luckily he lost the order and didn't follow it up.
It's a good
and it was only sort of about 10 years ago that I came across Dominic Allen and bought a set of his student pipes. and then managed to get a hold of in exchange what his sort of demonstration ebony set, and never looked back really. And they're now the pipes that I play all of the time virtually. I have to do a bit of work when I go back to the small pipes to try and remember how to play them.
Okay, cool. So so I'll ask one more question before we and what led you to take up piping in the first place?
I've always been into piping. My dad was into piping, and the Northumbrian small pipes that I play were his set. He never really learned. He's not particularly musical, my dad, although he always wanted to be. So listening to his cassettes in the car on holidays, and of Highland pipers and Northumbrian pipers, so it was always there. And it took me quite a while because I wanted to be a rock star when I was a teenager. So
this is better. So great. What tune are you going to play for us to start with, Ian?
Okay. What I'll do is I was toying with sort of how best to demonstrate what I do. And there's really two sort of aspects to it. There's the sort of the long variation sets, which are sort of so much a part of the Northumbrian tradition, but go back to sort of the sort of Scottish collections of the early 1700s and further, a little bit further back than that. So I'll do one of those first, and then later on I'll maybe do a couple of more brief ones. I thought it was interesting what Andrea was saying about three-time Bourrées, because one of my theories is that a lot of Northumbrian tunes, particularly the very old ones, really should sound like three-time Bourrées. That's the rhythm that they should have. It doesn't work for all of them because they're such an eclectic mix, but anyway, I'll get on. I'll play Suitors of Selkirk. I'm just going to move this microphone because it's very high and it's not going to pick up the pipes particularly well. If I can work out how to use the bloody thing. So, Suitors of Selkirk.
Well done. Thank you, Ian. That's fantastic. Where did you get all the variations for this that version of Tutor's one?
That particular one is from John Peacock's book, but I think it's exactly the same as in Oswald's James Oswald's book from quite about 50 years earlier, sort of 1700s, mid 1700s. So I mean, there's loads of collections. The kind of the one that Northumbrian pipers used sort of as their Bible was John Peacock's, which was 1800. But you know, it goes back to William Dixon and beyond that to Henry Atkinson, all sort of Newcastle based people.
Cool.
Sort of from Tyneside rather than Northumberland as such.
Okay, the Peacocks are a great source of tunes and collections.
It is, yeah.
Northumbrian pipes and the border pipes is great. So I'm gonna go and refer back to these in the bag questions. So have you got 3 albums? Have you got on your playlist at the moment? Is there such a thing?
Yeah. What have I got on? Cocania, who are a trio from is it Marseille, sort of Languedoc area. They've got a new album out called Paput, and they're singers, three female singers, and just absolutely brilliant, rhythmically wonderful stuff. It's quite eclectic. So I've got there's a woman from Tyneside who I'm very good friends with her mother, but Beth Jeans Horton, she goes under the name of Dublonde. She's just got her new album out, and it's great. It's sort of punk pop. It's wonderful. And the other one, which is always on my playlist, is Neinbach, their first album, the Welsh band, who are just again a great band.
Cool. Apart from the Blowout, obviously, do you have a favourite music festival?
I'm gonna have to say Newcastle Piping Festival.
I thought you might say that. Why is that?
That's because I'm involved in organising it.
Okay, great. Do you have 3 words that describe your style of piping?
Completely made up.
Completely made up. Well, that sounds pretty good. Completely made up. Okay. And do you prefer playing dancing or playing or dancing?
Playing, definitely. I've got 2 left feet, and I'm a terrible dancer. So the discussion in Andrea's workshop was quite funny to me, because me and dancing just don't go.
Anybody who says I got 2 left feet, I see that as a challenge. We have to get people out there. We're gonna to keep into time. Let's hear another. Okay, to play another piece of music now.
Yeah, no bother. That last one was a slow air, and then sort of followed by sort of 9/8 slip jig type thing, which is something that James Oswald did a lot of, writing, taking song airs and turning them into dance tunes and sticking the dance tunes on the end of them. So he was doing that in the 1740s. But I'm going to do a couple, 3 more 9/8s, I think, and they're sort of fairly fastish, so I should be able to get through them in time. The first one, they go by different names. First one's Stamford and Hopping. Hopping is like a fair. Second one is Andrew Carr, which is quite a well-known tune. And the third one is commonly known as Over the Border, but this one's from John Bell's collection, and it's a sort of simplified version of the variation set, sort of around about 1850, and it's called The Lairds of Wrighton.
Okay. Fabulous.
Step back and go. How did the pipe sound then?
It's cool. It's good.
All right.
Yeah. Fantastic, great, lovely tunes, lovely tunes. We, believe it or not, we're almost at sort of 20 minutes. So probably, that's just so fast, so fast. It's just amazing. You think, oh, it's going to be ages, but it's not.
Yeah, it's best not to organise these things, isn't it?
So really, what I'd like to do is, I mean, there are various other questions on this list. The last one on the list says, "I love bagpipes because."
Yeah. Oh. Because nobody else does.
Well, there we go.
The real reason I love them is drones.
Drones, yeah.
It's wonderful to have an instrument that has its own accompaniment. You don't have to do anything with it.
As a young child, I mean, there are three things I remember in my life as an early musician: singing along to the vacuum cleaner, and that was cool, and also as a British Rail Guard on the electric trains. They would speed up, I could start singing. It's great, and then I'd accompany myself, you know. So having a drone is fantastic.
Excellent.
I'm just wondering if there's any questions that anybody would like to ask. Somebody says, what was the name of the CD of the three French women? It was a question.
Oh, they're called Cocania, which is Cochana, I think. I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly. And the CD was called Puput.
Okay. It's just, does anybody else have any questions for Ian? There may or may not be. I mean, I could ask more questions, but it would be wrong of me to do so because I know it will start eating up. Yeah. From a fellow bouzouki player and piper, is there a connection for you between them?
What, the bouzouki and the pipes? Yeah, bouzouki, the way I tune it AD, usually have it cap mode up to G, and they just suit each other perfectly.
Okay. Right.
I've put a link to my WordPress site, which is where you can buy my book from.
Okay. But what is the book?
Which it's got 100 tunes in it, which I've written over the last
old or new tunes. Tell us, what are they? Old or new ones?
They're ones that I've written. So it's ones that I started writing back in the 80s when I was first learning to play the small pipes, all the way through to ones written in the last since lockdown.
I would strongly suggest if people haven't checked out your SoundCloud stuff, you'll hear some of your original compositions on that, as well as the older traditional tunes. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'd like to say thank you very much, Ian, for taking the time to be part of this. It's it's great. It's really hard to come on and play down the line like this, and I think you did a marvelous job. So thank you very much, Ian.
Thank you.
Yes, there we go. Yeehaw. So, I think Steve is going to take me off of the screen, or do something to the screen just for a moment, because what's going to happen next is that we're going to have. I'm going to ask Jane Mulder to introduce Eric and his next workshop, which will be running for 50 minutes from 3:35. So we've got a couple of minutes before that happens. So I'll hand over to Jane. Thanks again, Ian. And I look forward to meeting you in the flesh. And we'll have a tune then. That would be really cool.
Yeah, brilliant.
Thank you very much for that.
Looking forward to the rest of the day as well.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Oops. Remembering to unmute. Yes, well done. Hello, everyone. My job here is small, but it is important because it is to introduce you to Eric Ask Upmark. Eric, I've known Eric for a number of years, both as a customer and as a friend and as a stand assistant at Le Son Continue a couple of years ago, and he was very efficient, I must add. So Eric crosses many boundaries in his music. He is firmly ensconced in the medieval world, but also in the folk world, playing various pipes and harp and other instruments. And if any of you are really into medieval music and want joyous hearing, then do check out his latest CD from Falsa Bordoni, very aptly music for a plague. The only thing I will not do is follow his lead and become a flagellant, which is on the last track. So Eric is going to be taking us through a couple of tunes and bringing his expertise to us all. So I'll hand over to you, Eric.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Jane. Thank you. Thanks, Dave, for inviting me here. Let's see, does this it seems to work. Yeah, I can't see you anyway, but I hope so.
Yes, it's all working. Yeah.
Great, perfect. I had someone ask me the other day actually about this flatulent music. What is that all about? I think they got that slightly wrong. Flagellant, not flatulence, but you know, that's might be a better world if we had flatulence instead of flagellants, I suppose. I'm not sure. Sorry for that. Hello, everyone. Great to meet you. My name is Erik. I was at the Blowout in 2012, I believe. Ian has to correct me if I'm wrong. 9 years ago. And it's great to be back, even if it's in this virtual form. And the topic today, as you know, is medieval music. So this is the idea is basically that I'd like as many questions as possible. I don't know if you are familiar with medieval music or if you are more familiar with folk music. So if this is new to you, please do let me know if you have any questions whatsoever. I will do my best to ask them. I suppose you can raise your hand. Maybe that doesn't work when we're at a webinar, so you'd better just pop off the questions in the chat, or even better, the Q&A probably. So just feel free to do that, because it's I will probably grow tired of the sound of my own voice after a while, which I will anyway. So please let me know if there are any questions. Anyway, medieval music. I started out playing medieval music before I played folk music, and that was on one of, actually this very pipe here, Swedish bagpipe. And maybe that has formed the way I'm playing, because I saw Dave wrote that in the description here that it's medieval music with a Nordic twist. And I suppose the Nordic twist is a bit of the way I'm playing medieval pipes, which is a very folksy attitude. There are different camps in medieval music and in medieval bagpiping. Should you play medieval bagpipes very sort of informed of everything we know about medieval bagpiping, which is not very much at all? Or should you play it basically as you want to? And I'm in that latter camp. I play it with a very folksy attitude. And if you are new to this music, there is a giant repertoire, and there is some nice opportunities for crossover, of course, between folk and medieval music. And point in question, the first tune for today, I pop in the PDFs here. Can I do that in the chat? Let's see if I can. I thought I was going to be clever here, and no, it doesn't let me to everyone, maybe. Did you all get the sheet music? I wonder. It's available.
Everybody's been sent the sheet music.
Yeah.
And it's on Bagpipe Society website, page 2.
Great. Do you know, Dave, if I can, how do I go about to share PDFs here? Can I do that in the chat?
I can. I'll put the links to the PDFs in the chat now. Yeah.
Yeah, because I have some more.
Yeah. Oh, you got some more ones. Whoa.
I do. Yeah, exactly. I have some extra features, but they are not integral to this one. I can show you, and then I can. Maybe you can. I'll send them to you, and you can share them later. Maybe.
Yeah.
Because the idea here is we have such short time, so I thought I'd leave you with a couple of extra tunes, and that you can work on for a home assignment for the future. I'm going to take off my hat now because it's bloody warm in here.
So I've put into the chat the Maria
Perfect.
Muta Refinement, and the
Yeah.
one which was Procarans Odium.
Perfect, just in case someone missed it. So I'm just going to go ahead with the Maria Muta Refinement, which is one of those flagellant songs that Jane was speaking about. So in the year 1348, in case you didn't know, there was apparently a pandemic then as well in Europe. And one response then was to start hitting you very hard on your head or all over your body with whips, so-called flagellas, and there we have the name flagellants. And they also had some really nice music, this flagellant movement. And there was a German guy who wrote down a lot of tunes. So we have 6 or 7 tunes that are from this year, 1348. And we know reasonably well what they sound like, because he also wrote them down in pretty easy to decipher sheet music. And I'll start off here by playing the first one, Maria Muta Refinement. It's a song of praise to Mother Mary, as is 99% of all medieval music is, of course, sacred. There is a little sliver of instrumental music, and then gradually, interestingly enough, after the plague, there is a sort of boom in secular music, because apparently the trust in the Holy Church declined after the plague, because people had some second thoughts about all that thing. And but up until then, lots of music, most of all music is really sacred. And this first tune ties neatly into Andrea's thing about how to adapt a certain tune into different styles or different tempi and so on. And I'm going to show you that with this one. It's very straightforward, written out in 4/4, and it's in 2 different parts. You could say it's in 3 parts, depending on how you count the melody. And it's in G major, although we'll be playing it on D pipes. We'll start on the G 3-finger note, going up to the octave, and then going C, B, G. We're mostly around G major chord in this tune. There is one note which adds a whole new dimension of harmony to this tune, and that's because we need to play a low E at one point, which otherwise it will be purely in G minor, but with that E we get a little bit of an extra feel of different harmony. And because you can just as well play this tune, of course, in D, then you will start on the bottom note, on bottom D, but then you can't play that nice E, which would be a B in that case, below the bottom C. So I will play it on my Sean Jones Bourrée pipes set, and there's also discussion, of course, about temporal anachronism. When you don't bring any electric guitars to medieval music gigs, should you bring a Bourrée pipe? Is that allowed, or does it have to be a medieval bagpipe? Well, if it's a medieval bagpipe, does it have to have cane reeds, or can we use plastic reeds? The discussion never ends. As far as I'm concerned, as long as it looks okay, you're good to go. And so I happily use my Bourrée pipe in D in medieval circles as well, although it's probably, well, we don't know, but surely an instrument exactly like this didn't really exist in the Middle Ages, but close enough. And I will prepare you for some loudness, of course, from the mic now with the bagpipe. Let's see, do I have original sound? There you go. Quick sound check. Give me a thumbs up if this sounds okay. Great. So I will play it straight through as notated. Maria Muta Refinement. That's it. I'll actually take off my earphones because I realized it's kind of hard to play bagpipes when you don't hear yourself. In case you never tried, I can't recommend it. That was really hard actually. And I don't need them now anyway. So here we go. So yes, Maria moter renomite. There is a lyrics to it, of course, that I didn't include in the music because this was intended as an instrumental tune. Let me know if you want the sheet music. I have them as well, of course. Actually, you can Google it because all this collection is available online in many different versions. Hugo von Reitlingen was the name of the musician who wrote down all these tunes back in the good old year 1348. Straight away when we did the recording, we included this. I think we played it both very solemnly and slowly because we know that this tune was used to sing, and there are different. Being a flagellant was actually highly regulated, so you had to sign off on a number of rules if you were going on a flagellant spree or a flagellant journey that lasted for 33 days. Incidentally, to coincide with the number of years that Jesus lived, of course, in case you didn't catch that. And as far as we know, they weren't really keen on instruments. But there are, on the other hand, there are also some indications that instruments were used, so we're not quite sure. For traveling musicians, of course, the bagpipe has always been a popular instrument because it's easy to travel with it. It can double as a pillow, and you can even, have some wine in it if you're so inclined. It's perfect. And speaking of medieval music, of course, the bagpipe sort of encapsulates everything within medieval music. It's the quintessential medieval instrument as far as I'm concerned, because you can play anything on it and it sounds medieval, as some audiences have told me over the years. So playing a tune like this, which fits the bagpipe quite nicely, is quite fun. How can we make it a bit more fun? Well, we can turn it into a dance, a bit like Andrea did. So the easiest thing here would be to play this as a jig, to move it from 4/4 to 6/8. And it's quite unusual to have a tune in a straight meter like this, in a 2 meter, because during the Middle Ages the tunes in the meter 3, the triple meter, were considered much more perfect because they would remind you of the Holy Trinity. So that's why when a tune was in triple time, you would notate that with a circle, because the circle stood for perfection, as in the Holy Trinity. And when you had a tune like here in 2/4, you would show that with a half a circle. You would simply slice up the circle in 2 and show that it was an imperfect meter. And this half circle is what eventually morphed into the C at the start of a tune in 4/4. Sometimes you see a C, and sometimes even a C with a slash in between when it's an alla breve 2/4 signature. So that also comes from the tradition of slicing the circle in 2. So it's not a C, it's actually half a circle. So it's quite unusual to have a sacred tune like this played in a very straight meter. So I think we're doing ourselves a service when we play it in a triple time instead. That's probably more correct in a medieval setting. And to do it, we simply change the proportion of tunes, and this is of course an old tradition going back, was kept going up until the 19th century at least, and even further in some circles, that you were supposed, as a musician or as a folk musician or a medieval musician, you were supposed to be able to take any tune and change the meter to fit the type of dance or what was expected from you. This is called in Swedish or German you would say to make a proportion, because the proportion of the notes in the tune changes. And you find this in a lot of Renaissance music, for example, when you have the first part of the dance is slow and solemn in 2/4 or 4/4, and then you have a quick after dance like the pavane and the galliard, and they often share the same melodic material, or even they are identical in music, except for that the galliard, the second dance, would be in quick triple time. So instead of going da dum da dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum da dum ba, we're going to change it into a jig by di 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 dim ba dum ba dum ba da da dum ba dum ba dum ba da da di dum into 6/8, which is quite easy with this one. You basically can just play along from the sheet music again. I'll play it for you in jig time. And do some tuning as well. that's a very quick jig in this case. But I played all the notes exactly as they are written, so I didn't need to change the sheet music at all. Sometimes you have to adapt it. This one works straight away by changing the rhythm, basically. And I included some rappels there. I never knew what that was called, so thanks to Andrea for the information. Rappel, that is when you drop down on the lowest notes to separate the notes up here, which you do all the time on the Swedish bagpipe, because the Swedish bagpipe, as I'm sure you all know, is a cylindrical bore instrument, so you can very easily drop down even from the octave to the bottom note. And since the drone on the Swedish pipe is tuned to the same note as the bottom note, that makes it sound very nicely as if the staccato effect, as if the melody is shutting off when you drop down to the lower D. And I use that a lot when I play on the conical pipes as well. So I recommend that you try out that, especially if you want to play it in a dance style and create nice rhythm. You can do that quite nicely by using the rappel a lot and dropping down to the D that ways. And of course, so that was the jig, and you can quite easily play in a waltz style as well, in a pure 3/4. Simply by playing the same thing as the jig, but slowing it down considerably. Quite well as a waltz, even better actually, in my opinion. And I'm sure you can do 5/4 as well. I'm pretty bad in 5/4 right off the cuff, but I'm sure you can do that quite easily as well. Or even a Strathspey. Would make a quite nice Strathspey actually. Medieval German Strathspey, which is a bit weird, but it would work quite nicely, I think. Let's see, do we have any questions so far? No. That's great. I'm doing a great job here of being clear and precise, obviously. Do let me know. Otherwise, I can't hear you because I took out the...
I think we have a question from Roger. He's not on the Q&A bit, but he was going to ask a question.
Right. Just go ahead and I'll see if it pops up here in the...
I'll just see... he might not be there now.
Right, we'll see.
I was going to say, Eric, should we just play it through a few times, nice and gently?
Yes, absolutely. That's a great idea. Going back, let's play it. When we recorded this, I changed the form a bit, so that's why I screw up the form. I have to look at the sheet music to not skip the part, because we comprise it a bit. Because when you play this instrumentally, you might want to take out the middle part, for example, and just have a B version. But we'll stick to it as it's notated. We'll play it one time more. First as exactly as notated in the 2/4, and then maybe one time as a jig, but a bit slower jig, so not that racing tempo. So here we goes. London as a jig. Something like that. Let's see. So
I have a question, Eric.
Yeah, please.
So, hearing Andrea play earlier, and then hearing yourself play now, do you see that there's a difference in? I mean, obviously the notes are the same up and down the scale, but do you see there as a different accent of playing the tunes in the way you ornament or change the notes, or do you think it's a pretty universal sort of response?
Well, one of my things, as I mentioned, that I do have a hard time playing these tunes straight. I love to add all the squiggles and the ornaments and the vibrato, which is my style of folk playing. And I hear some early music groups and they play these tunes very, very straight. And I think it's a bit boring, frankly. And we don't really know, of course, how. I mean, there was obviously a great a plethora of musicians back then as well, and there would be lots of different styles. You would have folk musicians back then, and you would have courtly musicians, and they probably played in different ways. So for me, I do come to it from the folk. In the folk style, you can absolutely play it a bit more straight, less vibrato, less ornaments and so on. If you want to have a distinct, different feeling, maybe if you do a program, as we have sometimes done with both folk music and medieval music, it's can be a good idea to try to separate the styles a bit more, so you don't end up with one big, mix of everything. So you actually hear some difference. Especially a tune like this, which is quite, it has a very folksy style. This could be a folk tune, or it could even be a pop tune for that matter, because it's quite, especially if you play it in this jigs tempo, it's hummable, and it's also a potential earworm. Da 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 da. Once you get it in your head, it can be a real nuisance to get it out there again. Which was the whole point, of course, with this type of tune that the Flagellants used, because they were. It's a bit like the Salvation Army, also, that they have also the tunes, which sounds a bit quaint today, but when they started in the 19th century, their main weapon of persuasion was those tunes, which were really pop music of the day, and that would really convince people to look into this some more. So I would say it depends a bit on the tune as well, on the style of the tune, and which will lead into the next tune, the Procurans Audium, that is much more serious in character. That's a Conductus, which is a type of early polyphony. It's written out in this tune exists in 2 or 3 parts. There is another version in 3 parts, the same 2 parts here, but there's an added 3rd part at the bottom. And I was planning to share that with you, so I will send that to you onwards. You need a low. If you play it on 2 D pipes, you would need to have a low G pipe. The really big octave G pipes, to play the 3rd voice beneath these 2 pipes. If you're lucky enough to have one of those, you will get a wonderful sound with that, deep booming 3rd voice. But in this next tune, there will. Sorry, Dave. Did I answer that reasonably well? reasonably well.
Reasonably well. That was pretty good. It didn't. That was great. It did occur to me. What would the tune sound if you? I'm very familiar with hearing this type of pipe. So if you played this same tune on your Swedish pipe, what would it sound? How you would have a different perhaps response to playing it.
That's a good point actually, and I have to have them right here. So we do have some time still. It's much harder to do a workshop in 50 minutes than in 5 hours. It's maybe not as demanding physically, but it's on mental demand is much greater because you have to be very precise and get everything in there without just blabbering on, which is my forte. So this is in A, so you have A here. Technically would be in E, as Swedish bagpipes are, but we name them after the keynote, which is in A, the 3-finger note. Swedish way of playing is sometimes it's almost Northumbrian because you can use this. It's also very very personal, of course, how much you drop down and use that. If you don't, it's more like this. On the Swedish pipe, you also get a lot of this thumb, like you find in the Eastern European pipes, where you use that grazing a lot with your thumb. So that would be a style more fitting on how it would sound on the Swedish pipe. But then, of course, I do have a set of medieval pipes as well. This is made by Jim Parr. I'm sure you know him in Norwich. Well, he used to live in Norwich back in the day when he bought this, like almost 30 years ago. I think this is his very first medieval pipe that he ever built. I might be wrong, but I think he said that like 30 years ago. And it's a real workhorse. It's been played for, I don't know how many hours over the years. The Swedish bagpipe maker Alban Faust, if you know him, he's a great musician, but he's not very careful with his bagpipes. So he actually stepped on this many years back, and we never got around to fix it. So I took this part of an old Samponia and put it on there to hide the where we glued it together eventually, which makes it look a bit more medieval, because you often find the fontanelle, which is this is called, which hides the key basically on the Samponia or the shawms, and you often find medieval illustrations, illuminations, where they show drones with totally meaningless fontanelle. Or a couple of them sometimes. So clearly the illuminist, the painter, didn't have the first idea about what bagpipes actually look like, at least sometimes. They might have fitted a perfectly fine purpose that is unknown to us today. So anyway, that's the story why I have this thing on the drum. Otherwise, it's a perfectly normal folk G pipe, really. The difference is, of course, with the medieval bagpipes that you often get this funnel style at the end of the conical chanter. Otherwise, it's more or less the same chanter, but you have the funnel, so you get a bit different sound. And of course, if you've been to a big German market, or the German bands, there is a competition, especially in Germany, but I would say throughout the continent these days, about having the biggest funnel on your bagpipe. So some of them, they grow to absurdly large sizes sometimes. Just because it looks more cool. And of course you can have all kinds of medieval carved heads and stuff like that. and so on. So clearly, when you have a G pipe, especially right after you play the D pipe, it's a totally different sound. And as far as we know, it would have been easier in the Middle Ages to make smaller pipes than larger ones. So probably the pipes were rather smaller than larger. Also, probably cylindrical pipes like the Swedish pipe was probably much more common because they are also much easier to make. Also with the reed, because of course there's a single reed in the Swedish pipe, and this is a normal double reed. Completely black with only the things that matter. Thank you so much about commenting about the setup here. Well, we have done a couple of concerts, so we have tried out many different setups. I tried the one where you have the window behind you, so you get all the nice, glow right in the camera, and it's a black silhouette. We did that for the first couple of concerts before I realized that's maybe not the best thing to do. So we did it the other thing around and had the black background instead. So that's a good tip for you. Also, remember to check out your webcam settings. There was a couple of webinars or concerts before we remembered that you can actually change the settings of the web camera to punch up the light. So remember to check that out if you're streaming, if you want to put a career into streaming concerts. Hopefully we don't have to do that much more, but so let's see. Let's continue to the other tune. I'm of course mirrored, so you have to read it backwards. Procodans Odium. I think I'll start with playing it, and I'll go back to the D pipes. This sounds very nice on 2 D pipes in the same octave. The melodies do cross over a bit, so it's not like in folk music where you have the one pipe or one instrument plays the top and the other one plays a third or a sixth below, and they stay in their lanes. Of course, in medieval music, the voices can jump up and down much more. So here in this tune, the second voice quite often skips up over the actual, what we would think of as the melody, because we didn't really think of as having a melody and a counter melody. You would have a tenor melody maybe, which was the most important line. But in this specific tune, I would say the 2 melodic lines are equally important, and they are reminding of each other. It's not a perfect canon, but almost. So they repeat each other, and that's why they work out quite nicely together. Although the effect is even better if you have 2 pipes which are not the same. For example, if you have a Swedish bagpipe in G, then you haven't had the lowest note would be a D, so you would also be called a Swedish D bagpipe, and that is of course the same range as a D border pipe. And we did that on the recording, I think, and it sounds quite nice because then you can hear the difference between the 2 voices. That's worth to remember for medieval tunes. It can be a bit hard to find tunes for 2 identical pipes. I found that you have a lot of tunes which work in polyphony. If you have a D pipe at the bottom and either a G pipe or even better an A pipe, a conical A pipe, a fifth above the D one, then you can find lots of tunes. I will send some to you later that are really good for playing on a D pipe for the bottom voice and an A pipe in the top. That creates a really nice, very full, broad range sound. And those are also quite playable straight from the sheet music, so you can check those out afterwards as your home assignment, as I said before. So anyway, the Procodans Odium, it's in 6/8, but it's not really a jig. You can think of it more as a waltz, I would say, if you want to shoehorn it into a genre. The Conductus is almost always in 6/8, because again it's a triple time to remind you of the Trinity thing. And let's just look at it. This is in D minor, but D minor with a B natural. So the Dorian mode. Bottom note is keynote D. The range is from D to D, although actually it uses both B natural and B flat. So exactly. I'll take that one out. you should never... Oh, come on. Drop your pipe on the floor. And again, we need, of course, also we need the F. So I hope you have the French style back thumb hole, which is probably also not a medieval thing. There are at least no medieval pictures showing this. Well, they wouldn't really, because you only see the front of the instrument, obviously. But there are no of the few. Well, there aren't actually medieval bagpipes extents left either, so we don't really know. There might very well have been a thumb hole there. Otherwise, you can use some wax to change the F sharp to an F natural. So I'll play both voices, both parts. I'll start with the top one. You see that I actually play this in quite different style. I just realized that myself after Dave's question there, that maybe I do this now because we talked about it, but this tune definitely fits a bit more somber way of playing. You know, not as much. You have some tastefully chosen vibrato, not all the time, and not as much grace notes, maybe, to keep it a bit more straight. Also because, of course, when you're playing in harmonies, it makes more sense to iron out any, too many differences, too much things which might interfere with the voices. So sadly, we can't play in parts here, but I will now play the second part one time through, and then maybe if it works, if you crank out the volume really loud, maybe you are able to play the first part along. I'm not sure if that works. You are welcome to try. But let's try first with let's run through the second part as well, so we know how the second voice sounds like. This one starts on actually on the low third, the F. as you see, it's almost the same, but everything is a bit shuffled around. It's really hard to memorize that if you are used to playing the top part, because you sort of glide into that one instead. So decide which one you're going to focus on, because they are not really exchangeable. They are actually quite different with the same material being moved around a bit. So if I now play one more time, I'll play the melody to the top part, and you're welcome to try out to play it with me in unison, or try out the second part. And then I'll play the second part one time more, and you can switch around. So one time through from the beginning, we'll play the first part, the top part. Sorry. Slow down a bit towards the end, ritardando. And again, we have no idea if that was common. I just think it fits the tune, especially when you have this nice polyphony going, where there's a triplet, quick 16th note triplet in the melody, da-dee-da-dee-da, that you have to really, it's nice if you can hear that. At the same time, the second voice is going up, da-da-dee-dum, da, like that. So it's nice to make that come out. So at least when you're stopping, we like to have this, the end really being pointed out, because it also ends on the nice fifth with the A and the D together. So I play the second part, the bottom part, and you are welcome to try out either the same or the top part. I hope the tempo is okay. It should be like this, so you have sort of in Swedish we would say tung gung, which means sort of a like a heavy 6/8, like a rock ballad 6/8 thing going. I'm sure that was what medieval composers were aiming for, basically. You know, to sound like Shania Twain or someone going with a heavy 6/8 rhythm. I usually end with a straight note, especially if you're on the fifth, straight, some vibrato, and straight. Again, it's much, very personal how you do that. Same with one of my favorite vibrato things, not especially for medieval music, but in general on the D pipe, is the C. I'm sure you're acquainted with that as well. get a really nice, at least on this pipe, you get a quite big vibrato when you do one of these fingers on the top C. And I can't resist to put that in there, even in this tune as well. And again, there is one more part, a third part, that uses this, there's more repetition in that part. It's not as fun to play. It goes da da dee da 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 dee da da like that almost all the time, and it starts on the low D and goes down. So you need a bigger set to be able to play that. But that adds one more dimension to it. So I will send that 3-part version along as well. So let's see, we have a couple of minutes left because you are running a pretty tight ship here, so I don't want to set you off with your amazingly held timetable. Do we have any more questions? Have I missed in the chat? No, you are all very well behaved and silent.
Perhaps we could can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay,
I have one here as well.
Just play through the first tune a couple of times straight. Play it as a straight tune a couple of times, and then play it as a jig to finish.
Yeah, sure.
And then
absolutely.
Play this other tune twice through, but you can choose your lines. But do the same thing twice or swap.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't.
Exactly. Do you agree that this sounds more sort of classical, or more? It's a different style clearly than the other one.
I think you're right to say when you're playing harmony lines, it doesn't affect what you might do.
Yeah.
Listening to the other lines, but I mean, you can do some sort of rappels in the 6/8 jigs sort of drops.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, yeah. You, of course, when you play this tune, it works. The Procorans Odium, it works quite well as a solo tune as well, obviously. And then maybe you would add some more rappels and ornaments in there than you would when, and on the contrary, you would remove them when you are playing in two parts. That is right. Let's go back to the first one again, so we will be sure that you will have it in your ears for the rest of the day. And so that was in G on the D pipe. Bum bum ba bum bum bum. One time through, as written in slow 4/4, and straight on we drive into the jig version. Da ba dum ba 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 bum 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 ba di di da di di. So the tempo is the same. You just switch from playing 1 2 3 4 to 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 da, 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 da. So you have to watch out not to start too quickly, of course, in the 4/4, or you will race away in the 6/8. That's an example of the concrete rappel to separate the phrase there in the second part, in the last part. And I try to rappel from the top, the D octave, down on the bottom D, which doesn't really work on this Bourrée pipe. It works fine on a Swedish set, of course, with a single reed, but not on this one. So that's why you get the nice squeaky C sharp there instead. As an intended effect, of course, nothing else. This one you can play, it works quite nicely to play it in many pipes in unison. You could theoretically play a very nice third, voice a third under, below, but that would be a bit un-medieval maybe. Sounds a bit too modern, even though the Procurance Odium actually uses quite a few thirds in its, that's a whole other discussion about medieval polyphony and the use of thirds and fourths and so on. So let's not open that can of worms right now, but instead let me thank everyone. Thanks to Jane for the great introduction, to Dave and Stephen for organizing everything, and for everyone else for being here. And take care. Thanks so much.
Eric, before you go, we have a couple of questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone has asked, can you give the source of Procurance Odium, please?
Yeah, it's in Carmina Burana. The Carmina Burana. You're familiar maybe with the Karl Orff version, the O Fortuna, the great film music tune that is based on a 13th century source called the Carmina Burana, which is a collection of tunes from a monastery in Bavaria. And the title Procurans Odium means that he who proclaims odious things gets what is coming to him in the end, basically. So
okay, well, you've just answered the second question, which is what does the title translate as? So thank you very much. Thank you. Great workshop, Eric. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, I think we hand over to Roger now.
Hello. How's my sound? Is there a lot of background noise?
You sound good, Roger. We've got actually a video to play in a couple of minutes, so we shall I'll just line that one up.
Good. I'll introduce Laura so she can introduce the video, right?
No, this is a different video.
A different video. Okay, one in between.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can't start my video until the host enables me to. I mean, start my.
Sorry. No,
video.
That's right.
Thank you.
I'll find you there.
But are we having everybody back in the room here now, Steve, or
well, we could do that. Should we?
We could do that whilst the video's playing.
Yeah, we'll do that whilst the video's playing. So what we'll do now is we'll bring everybody back into the room as the video plays, and then we should.
So what I'll just say about this video is basically, Roger, your big moment comes in at 4:35 UK time, so it's a few minutes yet.
Yes.
And I've been sent a contribution from John Goodacre, who had a piece of music that he would like us to play. So we found a spot for this piece of music to come in now. It's a tune that many of us will be familiar with, but not necessarily on what it is played on. So it's a piece of music for I'll give it away. It's called the Beverley Processional, actually. So some of us will know that from times gone. But I'd like to say thanks to Eric again for his workshop. That was really great. So this Beverley Processional music, I think it's a couple of minutes long after that. So as soon as that's finished, Roger, then you could take it away from there. And I will now shut up and get my face out of the screen.
A Goodacre free reed tribute to the President. The Beverley Processional played on the English automatic Seraphone.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Julian. Is this all of us? How many we got? There's a few more around. So, Roger.
Yes. Good afternoon. It's quite hot here in Nebraska. I hope the fan in the background is not making too much noise. If it is, just let me know. I'll turn it off. First off, some of you I know, most of you probably don't know me. I am a committee member for the Bagpipe Society. I'm also the secretary for the International Bagpipe Organization, and I'm really happy to be here. And I want to thank David for inviting me to host this short section, and thanks Stephen for running the tech, and our 5 guests for this News from Home segment. So we're going to start off with Laura McKenzie, who's not that far from me up in Minnesota. Is it hot there?
Yes, it's going to be 99 Fahrenheit pretty soon now.
Oh my goodness, we're only going to hit 90 today, but yeah, but that's enough. Anyway, I'm happy to introduce to you Laura McKenzie, who many of you will know, and she has a film that she has put together. So here's Laura McKenzie.
Yeah, hello everyone, and thank you, Roger and Bagpipe Society. My news, as Roger noted, comes to you today in the form of a short movie. And it's kind of a Piper's Pandemic postcard from Minnesota, the state of Minnesota where I live and work. And it covers some of the experiences and challenges that I think many of us shared this past year, like learning new skills, technical in particular, and trying new things and learning new ways to communicate music and stay connected. And the soundtrack is from various past projects. So I will do my best to dial it up now, and I hope you enjoy it.
Excellent. Thank you, Laura. Fantastic.
You're welcome.
I'm impressed with your video editing skills.
I'm learning, still learning.
And the variety of activities that you mediated for yourself during a pandemic, that's commendable. I can't claim anywhere near that level of activity, but I'm impressed. Okay, see if we have any questions. Don't see any. Okay, so we'll move along, and thank you, Laura, very much for that. Our next guest informs me that he may not actually need an introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. The inimitable Julian Goodacre. Welcome, Julian.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you might turn up a hair.
All right, well, I'll come closer to the golden mic. Is that any better?
That's better, yes.
That's great. Hello, everyone. As Roger said, I'm Julian Goodacre, bagpipe maker, researcher, and musician. And I'm delighted to be here at the Blowout, where we're all united by a common passion for bagpipes. I was born and brought up in England and moved to Scotland when I was 18, but I didn't really become interested in bagpipes for another 10 years. And my initial enthusiasm was in reviving the English pipes, and no examples, apart from the Northumbrian small pipes, had survived. But I was fortunate enough, it was so lucky, to be living in Scotland at the exact time when there was an emerging interest in reviving the 18th century bellows bland bagpipes that had fallen out of favour in the 19th century. And quite a few of these instruments have survived. This led to the formation of the Lowland and Border Pipers Society. The revival of the Scottish bellows pipes was underpinned by the unbroken tradition of playing mouth-blown Great Highland pipes, but in England there'd been a break for up to 200 years, and many of us looked towards the French bagpipe revival for our inspiration. And there's one key figure in this revival who I'm paying my respects to today, the late Roderick Cannon. I don't know whether you can see him there. For the work he did in the 1960s, researching the history of the English bagpipes, he planted the seed that inspired many of us, directly or indirectly, to revive these instruments, and which eventually led to the formation of the Bagpipe Society. He was English-born, and from an early age he had a passion for playing the Great Highland bagpipes, and when a university student, he spent his spare time researching the history of Scottish bagpipes, but was surprised to find how much written historical evidence there was of bagpipes being played in England. People didn't know about that. So he wrote a series of articles, and it was these that gave my brother John the idea of playing an English bagpipe, and he encouraged me to begin making them. I know that our president, John Swain, was similarly inspired by Roderick's articles while forming his band Blows a Bell, and I expect Jim Parr and Sean Jones and some of the other English makers can similarly trace their interest to these seminal articles, either directly or indirectly. The Bagpipes Society spearheaded this current English revival and has since gone on to embrace all types of bagpipes, whether revived, reinvented, or from unbroken traditions. And I've been so fortunate in my piping career to have had one foot in both the Scottish and English piping revivals, while always keeping one ear sort of directed towards central France and beyond, really. We should never forget that all those pipers from the past were not just historical figures. They were every bit as real as we are today. They each had their joys and sorrows, just as we do today. And they enjoyed piping, just as we do today. So let's keep doing what we do, because you never know what positive effect it may have on others. I'm not just talking about bagpipes here, I'm talking about any form of creative expression. We can never know what effect our actions may have on others. So carry on what you're doing with passion and love in the hopes that it may influence other people to do likewise and make our world a better place. And look what an inspiration Roderick has been to us in England. And then what was it that inspired you to play the bagpipes? Was it a specific piper that you heard, or a specific concert? Or was it the sound or the look of the beast? And did it creep up on you slowly, or was there a particular moment? We all have our own stories, and I could tell you about when I saw Blows a Bell in, what was it, 1981 at Cecil Sharp House. Whew. I'll end up with a quote from the Brahma Kumaris. What I'm experiencing at this moment is the result of choices and decisions made in the past. What I will experience in the future depends on choices and decisions I make now. So enjoy your bagpiping, everyone. You never know what positive effect it may have on others and our world. And enjoy today. Thank you.
Thank you, Julian. Very well spoken. Great thoughts for today. If you'll permit an answer to that question, I first heard English bagpipes on what remains one of my favorite records, A Richard Dust by Blowzabella.
Yes.
Pipes are made and played by John Swain and Paul James on that record. Any questions for Julian? Let's see the Q&A or the chat. Okay, well, we're a minute ahead of schedule, which is not a bad thing, and I'm not going to burn it up talking. So we'll move on to our next guest. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Aisling Holmes, who's going to talk about a recording project revolving around bagpipes.
Yep. So during 2020, I hardly got my bagpipes out at all. I started off with a cough, and had lockdown and homeschooling, and I kind of lost my motivation as well. So I decided at the end of the year that I wanted to play the bagpipes in 2021. And the thing that I had done last year was I wrote and recorded a tune for the online Blowout that was happening last June. And I really enjoyed that. So I thought that writing tunes and recording them was going to be a thing to get me playing. So I challenged myself that this year I was going to write a tune every month and record it and post it online in at least 2 parts. And so far, so good. So they've gone up on Facebook, but it is accessible even if you're not a member of Facebook, and I'll put the link up at the end. So in terms of writing the tune, each month I gave myself some kind of structure. So which type of pipes I was going to play. I knew I wanted to write some jigs because I've not written many for pipes before. I knew I wanted to do a 3/2 hornpipe or particular keys and modes. And in April, my younger daughter commissioned me to write a lively tune to commemorate a pigeon who had met a sticky end next door. So there's been kind of little other things that have come in, but I've had some kind of starting point. 1 or 2 have been written on the pipes and have just kind of written themselves. Several of the others I kind of started writing in my head, really, particularly just before going to sleep or walking on the school run. And then once I've got kind of the bones of the tune, then I've been getting out the pipes to make sure they feel like a pipe tune, I suppose, that they're falling under the fingers. And then once I've got that far and it feels like a pipe tune, then I usually kind of sit in front of the computer and write it down to kind of solidify it so that I know where I am with it. So once I've got the tune, then I've been doing a very rough recording on my phone because it's also about the harmonies, because I love playing harmony parts. So when I've got it recorded in some form, the harmonies mostly are coming organically by playing along the first part, apart from 1 or 2. So the 3/2 hornpipes, I wanted to have 2 parts that stood alone as separate tunes as well as coming together in harmony. So that one I did in more of a kind of theoretical way on the computer first. But then again, I've kind of come away from the computer and made sure that it feels like a bagpipe tune, that it kind of falls under the fingers nicely as well. So there's kind of quite a lot of to and fro between recording and stuff just going on in my head and writing it all down. And then I've kind of recorded it all. So the way I've done that has all been on the iPad. If you're interested in the tech stuff, the video has just been straight on the camera. The very first one, I think I just used the audio, but now I've been using a USB mic and I've been recording in GarageBand simultaneously to the video. And that means that I can kind of take it away and I can edit the audio a bit. So I can change the balance and put in all new skills that I never had before. And I've had to do some of this for work as well, so it's been really good for me. So that's just, and then I've put it all together in iMovie to get all my parts together. So we're in, well, we've just got to June. So far I've done 5 of these tunes that I've written especially for this project this year. And I've really been enjoying it. And I've also thrown in a couple of things I've written for other purposes that included the bagpipes or tunes I've written in the past but haven't really done anything with. So they're all up, and I'll put the link in a minute. I'm looking forward to playing these tunes with other people, but I'd also like other people to play them. So I'm just thinking about maybe putting them into a book, or if you would like some of them in Chanter. So yeah, I'm just starting to think about ways of sharing that for the future. So I'm just going to finish off. I think I've got a little bit of time to share my screen and just give you a tiny snippet of one of the tunes before I stop talking. Here goes. This is a bit of Feathers the Pigeon.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Ashley. I have to ask, did I see 2 sets of pipes, but 3 individual tracks? So you were using the same set for 2?
I think on that one, I had 3 different setups, but
Okay.
2 different chances in the same bag, courtesy of my modular Julian Goodacre small pipes.
Okay. And the other pipes were?
Sean Jones. So yeah, I've got
Right.
a kind of combination of different bits that I'm using and trying to make it different each time.
Great. Well, that was lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank
All right.
you.
Well, we're right on schedule. So now we're going to move over to Mr. John Swain, who I believe is going to... Hello, John. I think you're still
I need to unmute myself. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Excellent.
Hello and welcome.
Can I start by saying that my plan, I don't know if you knew what my plan was, but it was to use my phone to give you a whistle-stop tour of my workshop, including, well, the music room and everything. But we've just had a power cut and the internet has disappeared in the workshop and I simply can't get it back. So I'm plugged into the internet instead of using Wi-Fi. And we'll have to think of another plan. And so we can just talk, maybe. I'm not sure what about, but
I'm sure we can think of something.
You can ask me some questions, or other people could ask me questions, and I'll try and answer them.
Okay.
And I've got a set of pastoral pipes here. I could play a tune on them.
Oh, that would be wonderful. You want to start with that?
You would like me to start with it? Okay, I will.
Yeah.
Okay.
John, have you got original sound turned on?
I don't know.
Oh, don't know. We might not hear the pipes unless they are on.
Okay. Can you tell me how to do that?
So next to the little microphone at the mute button on the bottom left, there's a little arrow going up. Then it says audio settings.
Yeah.
Click on audio settings, and then you should see it says speaker, microphone, suppress background noise, and then music and professional audio.
Yeah.
Show in meeting option to turn on sound.
Okay.
Click that.
Yeah.
Right. Close the big white box there.
Yeah.
And then top left there should be a little blue sign saying turn off original sound or something. Top left of the screen.
Top left.
Right at the top corner.
Zoom webinar.
Just underneath that it should say turn on original sound or turn off.
Oh yeah. Got it.
And it should
go.
That's
done.
Fabulous. Otherwise, Zoom thinks bagpipes are noise and filters it out.
I see. Okay. I think the name of this tune is Mondes, and I think it's a Playford tune or from that era. and I got it from Becky Price. I showed it to me, and I thought that's a lovely tune.
Fantastic. Thank you, John. What was the title of that piece again?
Mondes. Mondesse, I think.
Right. Thank you so much. On the pastoral pipes. There was a question in the Q&A asking what, and I presumably about this set of pipes, how long, if you take orders for this set, how long would it take to get one?
Well, about between a year and 18 months at the moment.
Wow. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And if I remember correctly, the chanter reed in that is cane, not plastic, right?
It is. I can show it to you.
I'd love to see it. Yes. Now, with my background, that reminds me of an uilleann pipe chanter reed.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I started from the point of an early uilleann pipe chanter reed here.
Uh-huh. Okay. Let's see if there's any other questions. Ian Galston says he'll have a set. I think unfortunately, we need to move on. Thank you, John, so much. It's great to see you and great to hear you play. And what a wonderful sounding set of pipes.
Okay, can I just give a presidential thank you to yourself, to Ian and Dave and all the other people who've been involved in the production of this amazing event. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, our last guest in this segment is Jane Mulder. Welcome, Jane. And,
hi.
Jane, I believe, is going to talk to us about the wonderful journal for the society that she edits, The Chanter. Take it away, Jane.
Yeah, I thought I'd just sort of give people a brief insight into how Chanter comes about. I've been editing Chanter since 2014, which is quite staggering, really, because I'm in my 7th year. It's been I'm hard-pressed to say it's that long. But when I took over, it was interesting, Julian back there was saying about the beginnings of the Bagpipe Society, because it really was it was started with the foundation of, or the revival of the English bagpipes. And I think for a long time, Chanter reflected the membership, which was mainly English, and with this love of French music. And so articles were based around that, and Chanter was that way inclined. It was developing and morphing, but I really wanted to try and bring in my interests and cover really the changing membership of the society. And I think we've now got approximately, I think, a third of our members are non-UK based. And for many people, I'm aware that the only contact they have with the society is via Chanter. And so Chanter is the Bagpipe Society for a lot of people. I think this event is great because it allows people who would never get to the Blowout to come to the Blowout. But the interests I've got, I'm into history and history of pipes, and I'm into different cultures and world music. And so I really wanted to start focusing on different pipes from around the world, not just pipes from France and pipes from England and the history of them. And the other thing I really wanted to do is to highlight the art of making bagpipes. We all play pipes, but it's amazing how many musicians don't really think about what goes into the making of them. And I'm a maker, but not of bagpipes. And so I just thought, there's a lot of blood, sweat and tears that goes in there. And so trying to focus the makers on that. So, so how do I get my articles? Well, I would love to say that every month or every week, an article just drops into my inbox and someone says, "Here, Jane, I've got an article for you." And sadly, that is not the case. And that actually very rarely happens. It's down to me, sadly, to sort of basically commission people to write the articles. And I get the ideas. I have Facebook to thank for a lot of it, because I'm on various sites and various people's pages, and I hear someone mention something, or I see a post, and I think, oh yeah, can I expand on that? So I take these ideas and then I get in touch with the person and suggest to them that wouldn't it be great if they could write down their thoughts and put something together for Chanter. And I'm very pleased that most people take me up on that. And then the constant reminders need to take place, because there's one thing someone saying, "Yay, I'll write it," and another thing actually getting the article out of someone. So I'm a bit of a terrier, and I yap at people's heels and keep sending them emails and saying, "You did say." So some articles come back quite quickly, and some can take 3 or 4 years before I actually see something. And I would like to say that every Chanter is planned out at least 2 or 3 in advance, but that doesn't happen either. And it's amazing how sometimes a theme for a particular Chanter just emerges, like the recent one in the winter edition last year. It just sort of morphed into being very much a Flemish edition, just because of the number of articles that were coming in. And then I thought, oh yeah, I can do something on this, and then I'll go and ask someone else to just sort of write something to finish the article off. And then others, I deliberately go out and say, okay, I want to have a themed edition. So we've had a Swedish edition, a Galician one, and more recently the history special, which was an undertaking and a half. And I hope it gave everybody a good bit of lockdown reading, because it really was, it was twice the size of any other edition. So it was, and I think that had taken something like 3 years in the planning. Knowing that that basically everything comes from me towards you, it would be great if anyone had suggestions for me. I'm happy to take suggestions on if someone wants a themed special, and also if someone wants to write an article, or what people want to see, because as I said, it is my view of what needs to go into Chanter. Until I get emails or messages from people in the society saying, "Jane, please, can I have a can I have an article on this, I will just continue to do what I'm doing. I actually have had one suggestion. I've had someone say, can I have an article on pastoral pipes? And I've actually got 2 in the offing for that. So I do take those suggestions. So yeah, get in touch with me if you've got anything. If you've got an article fully formed, I'll have it. If not, I'll help you write it if you want. I've got very good at translation, so foreign articles or non-English based articles are okay. And yeah, get in touch with me. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jane. Excellent. I'm looking for questions. I have one question that I thought of while you were talking. I think I know part of the answer to this, but how do you choose the image for the cover?
I have a thing that I wanted, someone who is a living piper, someone who is present with us, and I try and keep away from posed pictures. I like to have someone actually playing bagpipes, and that's my theme. And then sometimes I see a picture, or sometimes it's a contributor, and I ask the contributor for the cover. But yeah, so living and playing.
Excellent. That's good to know. Thank you so much, Jane.
Okay,
and thanks to all of our panelists, Laura McKenzie, Julian Goodacre, Aisling Holmes, John Swain, and Jane Mulder. And now I'll hand it back over to Dave.
Thank you very much for that, Roger. That was a grand job. It's it was really great to hear a little bit of what's going on in different places. The idea is just to hear a few of our own little stories. We've had a pretty shit year all round, really, but we're getting through it and stuff. We're going to carry on, and we're going to make music and have a nice time. And this is all part of it. So thank you very much for those contributions. So that was really great. I really like that. So what's going to happen now is we're coming to the end of this part of the blowout. So the next bit is going to happen on a new link. So which you haven't, if you want to do it and you haven't got it already, you can probably still get it from us. We're going to be closing this session down, and we're going to start a join the band session. So basically what we've been and done is I asked people for suggestions of tunes that they might like to play with other people, either tunes that you might have heard at the Blowout or at various other places. And so I've given them to a couple of musicians who I know, who I sometimes play for Kaylee's and I work with in a community music setting. And so they're going to strike up and play a few well-known tunes for us. Some of them are well-known, actually. Some of them will be less well-known. All the music is available on the Bagpipe Society website, so you can get all the dots, still get the dots and PDFs from there and join in. So so that's probably all I have to say. So if we're losing you for the moment, goodbye. If we're going to see you again in a few minutes, see you then. There is going to be a fabulous concert later on from Arnaud Bibon playing his boa, and 2 really lovely people who are going to be from the Morvan, who are going to be playing their pipes and hurdy-gurdy at 7 o'clock. So there's lots more to come. So and time to have a break. So I'm going to get off so we can start again. So au revoir.
Yeah, we're going to need to move fairly quickly.
Yep.
If anybody has difficulty getting into the next session, it is being streamed to YouTube, and the YouTube link is on the Facebook page as well. So that's all there. Okay.
Fabulous. See you in a minute.